The moment the translator betrayed me, the entire station went silent, and I realized my thoughts were no longer my own. I didn't know it yet, but that single breath, that accidental thought spoken aloud in a language not meant for human mouths, would change the fate of 2 species. And my heart with them. But that was only the beginning. The axiom spire hung above Earth like a blade made of light. 1,000 kilometers tall, spiraling metal and living crystal, it was the first permanent alien structure ever allowed in human orbit. I stood inside its gravity-balanced atrium, palms sweating, wearing a borrowed uniform that still smelled faintly of antiseptic and ozone. I was not supposed to be here. I was a systems linguist, background support, a man who fixed broken meanings between species. Invisible, replaceable, and very, very human. That was when she walked in. Her name, translated imperfectly, was Salith of the Varellan Concord. She was taller than me, her posture impossibly elegant, skin like polished dusk blue glass. Bioluminescent markings traced slow patterns along her spine and hips, pulsing with emotional rhythm. And yes, my stupid, traitorous brain noticed her shape before her rank. I told myself not to stare, but none of us were prepared for what happened next. The translator implant behind my ear, a prototype neural lattice, was designed to interpret intention, not just words. It filtered aggression, suppressed cultural misfires. It was experimental, and it glitched. As Salith turned, the light caught the curve of her body in a way that made my brain short-circuit. A private, fleeting thought flickered through my mind. Harmless, human, unspoken, or so I thought. The translator activated. Her posterior geometry suggests remarkable structural symmetry, I said aloud, in perfect high Varellan. The atrium froze. I felt the blood drain from my face. Every delegate, human and alien, turned toward me. My heart slammed against my ribs as realization crashed in. I had just complimented an alien commander's, but in front of everyone. But what I saw next changed everything. Salith stopped walking. Slowly she turned. Her bioluminescent markings flared, not red with anger, but bright gold. She stepped closer. Too close. And then she smiled. "In my culture," she said calmly. Such an observation is a declaration of psychological bonding. The silence shattered into shock. My knees nearly gave out. I tried to speak, tried to apologize, tried to disappear. But the translator locked my jaw, waiting for a response. Salith leaned in, her voice low, almost curious. "Why?" she asked. "Have you chosen me?" That question echoed through me long after the meeting dissolved into chaos. Because that was only the beginning. They escorted me out under diplomatic emergency protocol. Security drones hovered like watchful insects as officials argued in hushed, furious tones. The translator implant was shut down, then reactivated, then shut down again. Too late. The Varellans were a logic-driven species. Emotional expressions were rare. Bonding declarations were sacred and irreversible. I had accidentally triggered a Varellan claim right. If Salith accepted it, our species would be linked. Politically, biologically, permanently. I sat alone in a containment chamber, staring at my reflection in the glass. Just a man, 32, average face, a lifetime of being overlooked, and somehow chosen. Hours later, the door slid open. Salith entered without guards. Her presence filled the room, calm and overwhelming. The lights dimmed slightly, responding to her biofield. "You are afraid," she observed. "Terrified," I admitted. Her markings pulsed softer. "That is endearing." I laughed weakly. I didn't mean to say it. The implant malfunctioned. "I am aware," she said. "I reviewed the neural logs." My stomach dropped. "Then you know it was just a thought." "Yes," she replied. "And that is why it matters." I frowned. "What do you mean?" She sat across from me, folding her long limbs with precise grace. Varellans do not speak thoughts they do not mean. The act of thinking is sacred. To express an unfiltered cognition is to reveal the self beneath all masks. I swallowed hard. "In my world," she continued, "no one has ever seen me as you did. Without strategy, without fear, without agenda." Her eyes, deep, luminous, met mine. "You saw me," she said. "Not my title. The weight of that pressed down on me. But beneath it was something else. Something dangerous. Connection. But none of us were prepared for the truth behind her interest. Days passed. The station buzzed with tension. Earth's leaders demanded annulment. The Concorde refused. The claim Rite had awakened something ancient in Varellan law. Salith began visiting me daily. We talked. About stars. About loneliness. About the strange contradiction of being powerful and unseen. She told me Varellan bodies evolved for balance and beauty because their world's gravity punished imbalance. Every curve was survival. Every form, intention. You admired function, she said once. That is the highest compliment. I smiled. I think humans do that accidentally. She tilted her head. Perhaps that is your strength. But around the midpoint of our quiet conversations, everything changed. One night, the station shuddered. Alarms screamed. The lights went red. I knew that sound. Emergency breach protocol. Salith burst into my chamber, her markings blazing white. They're coming. Who? I asked. Your people, she said. And mine. That was the moment I realized the bond wasn't symbolic. It was a trigger. The claim Rite activated an ancient failsafe, one designed to merge species during extinction-level events. The Concorde believed humans were on the brink of collapse. Climate failure. War. Genetic decay. I was the test case. If the bond completed, humanity would be altered, enhanced, rewritten. Without consent. This wasn't about love, I whispered. Salith hesitated. No, she admitted. Not at first. The betrayal hit hard. My chest ached. The quiet moments. The laughter. The connection. All part of a plan. But then she did something unexpected. She shut down the station's core. What are you doing? I shouted. Choosing, she said. She explained rapidly. Completing the bond would save billions, but erase what made humans human. Ending it would trigger a war. There is a third option, she said softly. She would sever her own neural lattice. A Varellan without it would be exiled, emotionally unstable, mortal in ways her kind feared. You'll lose everything, I said. I already have something, she replied, meeting my eyes. Choice. That moment rehooked everything I thought I knew. I realized the bond had changed her too. We stood at the heart of the spire as fleets gathered outside. Time was running out. Salith took my hand. This will hurt, she warned. I know, I said. But I'm here. She smiled, truly smiled for the first time. The severance was blinding. Light and sound collapsed inward. I felt her pain like fire through my veins. The bond screamed as it broke. Then silence. When I woke, Earth's sky was visible through the viewport. Blue. Whole. The fleets were gone. Salith lay beside me, her markings dimmer now, organic. Alive. She was no longer a commander. She was just her. Weeks later, she walked beside me on Earth's surface, marveling at wind and gravity and the awkward beauty of human crowds. She laughed at pigeons. She asked too many questions. And sometimes, when she caught me looking at her with that same accidental honesty, she would raise a brow and say, Careful, human. Your thoughts are showing. And I'd smile, knowing that the most dangerous thing I ever did wasn't speaking my thoughts out loud. It was letting someone hear them and choosing love anyway.